Hello and welcome to part 9 of Zelda II, The Adventure of Link. I hope you've been enjoying this series so far. I've certainly had a great time making it up to this point. And right now I am headed to a new town in the game. I'm not going to be doing a new palace here in this part because there's a bunch of collectibles I can get and a lot of exploring I can do, so that's what I'll be doing in this part. Right now I'm headed to a new region of Hyrule. If you'll remember this River Devil here, we've heard a lot about him and we can finally get past him, because we've got the flute from the last palace. So if you walk up to his ugly ass and you play the flute, he just leaves. He's gone. And then this screen here, you see these Lizalfos peeking over the wall, throwing boulders at you. And it's really annoying, it's kind of hard to dodge. But they remind me of just pesky hooligan teenagers. Like, oh bro, look at that dude down there just minding his own business, let's throw rocks at him. So that screen can be quite annoying, and there's several of these you have to make your way through. And this one, you need to use the fire spell because there's one of these basilisks up here, and remember you can only kill these with fire. So use the fire spell and blow them up, while avoiding these giant rocks from these annoying lizard looking people, aka the Lizalfos, which we will see in future Zelda titles as well. So here's the third screen with these guys. It's more annoying than anything, but if you're not careful you can get pegged pretty hard here and take some damage. You just have to kind of dance around those rocks. So here's some boons, the little fly looking guy dropping rocks. Haven't seen these in a while. They're usually in the swampy terrain. And over here, you have to use the jump spell. You might be able to do it with a regular jump, but you can't really get enough momentum with the swampy water, so it's better to just use the jump spell. And there you can collect the Link doll, which again is just an extra life in the game in case you've been burning through those. So in this cave there's a points bag, and that's the only reason I'm going in here. Since this is a 100% playthrough, I do want to show everything you can get. So there's a bunch of Patras here. Yeah, these guys are called Patras. I don't know if I ever mentioned that or not. Kind of like the same name from the Petras from the first Legend of Zelda. If you remember those towards the end of the game, they had these little heads that flew around it. Very different in that game than it is from this one. And this is another Sketlar. I hate these guys. Downward thrust is the best way to beat them, but only when their eye is open. But he's guarding that 500 point bag, so it's definitely worth the effort, I think. And I only need to level up my magic one more time, and then all of my stats will be maxed out. And every time you level up, after you've maxed everything out, you get an extra life. So one of those Link dolls, pretty much. In case anybody was wondering what happens once you level everything up. So these swamp screens can be quite annoying just because it's slow to walk through them, and there's usually a ton of enemies in them. So I'm glad to be in the forest now. There's some Lizalfos here. This guy's got a mace. He's not messing around. So here is the cave that's going to lead you to the next town in the game. I'm making my way through that cave. Some Tek-Teks here. And you don't have to use the fire spell to kill these, but it makes it a lot easier. Just one hit and they're done. And you can just spam it. And thankfully that one dropped the magic container, so I refilled my magic after using the fire spell. It's like that guy paid for his own death, you know? So there's this cool looking Lizalfo's here. He's got his leather jacket on. He's throwing maces at you in style. So over here in this little forest is the hidden town of Kasuto. If you press the A button, you can swipe away at the woods, and obviously this is the hidden town, and it's hidden because the old town of Kasuto was actually overrun by enemies, and all these people made refuge here, and they're kind of hiding out. As this lady says, she says, we had to flee Kasuto. And we'll actually be heading to Old Kasuto later on in the next video. And this lady says you deserve her help. Sure, why not? So go inside her house, and you can talk to her. She says there's a secret at the edge of town, and I will show you exactly what that means towards the end of this video as I make my way towards the edge of town. But over here is the final magic container of the game, so you can see up on my screen that I have all the magic containers I can get. And towards the end of this video, I'll be actually getting the last heart container as well. So those collectibles can be scratched off the checklist once this video is done. And this place is empty, just an empty house. So this lady says the old man who remains has magic, and she's just referring to the wise man of this town. Or actually, she's referring to the old man of the old Kasuto who remained in Old Kasuto, and he has magic. This old lady says the hole in Palace is a never-ending trap. So what happens is, in the Great Palace, there's a hole that if you fall down, it just repeats the screen over and over and over again until you get yourself out of it. And that's what she's talking about. So this guy doesn't have stairs to his basement. He has like a dungeon entrance on his chimney. Kind of weird. I don't know about this guy. He's kind of sketchy. But he says, remember the magic word. Apparently he teaches you a spell because that is the spell. As you saw there, it's called spell. And we will use this spell to access the hidden secret at the edge of town that the other lady brought up. And that is coming up here momentarily. This guy says call for help at 3 Eye Rocks. He's referring to the entrance for the hidden palace. There's going to be 3 rocks, and if you play the flute like I mentioned in the previous video, the entrance to the palace will open. So here's the edge of town. And if you use the spell here, Shazam, this giant monument will appear, excessively high ceilings here, but once you go in, it's just a basement. It doesn't make too much sense, but that's okay. Here is the magical key. You can open any locked door, and it makes keys obsolete. You'll remember the magical key from the first Legend of Zelda, which did the same thing. And this item is necessary. You cannot get through the hidden palace without this item. So be sure to grab it if you're following this as a walkthrough. So I am done in this town. I've talked to everybody. I've gotten everything I need to get. So I am going to make my way over to the hidden palace. But first I'm going to restore my magic here with this old hag. How about that? It's my special medicine. I don't want to know. So before heading to the hidden palace, there's a couple more things I can grab. There's one more points bag, but it's along the way, and like I mentioned, there's also the final heart container of the game, which is also right next to the palace. So I'll grab those, and then I will head into the palace. And again, I always like to use the fire spell on these Tektites. It just makes it easier to kill. Especially good for this screen since there was 3 of them. If there's a lot of them, you might as well just use that fire spell. This guy's giving me a hard time for some reason. Can't seem to hit him. So there's a secret screen right here, and there's a points bag here in this screen. guarded by this red Lizalfos. 500 points, so definitely worth it. And we're headed this way anyway, so why not stop by and grab it. And right here there's another secret screen. But I got hit by an enemy before I reached it, so hold on. Right here at the edge, there's the final heart container of the game. And right when I leave this screen, there's going to be 3 rocks, and like the man mentioned, I can play the flute here and open the entrance to the hidden palace. So thanks for watching, and join me next time.